Okay, we are on Parsha's Devorim. Starting Sefer Devorim. 9:38. Okay. So anybody, any Torah, any time people, I apologize. We have not had shir for a couple of days because I wasn't well. Now we're back, Be'ezer Hashem, regular schedule. We're continuing, by the way, after the Bein Hazmanim, after Tisha B'Av, I am coming in for the Parsha shir.
Nice.
But it's going to be at 12:15. It's going to be at 12:15, not 11:15. Okay. Page 938. Sefer Devorim. Now, before anything, Sefer Devorim is generally going to be, it's called, in English, Sefer Devorim is called Deuteronomy. Anybody know why it's called Deuteronomy? Remember? What's it called? Huh? Close. What's the word Deuteronomy? What's the English word Deuteronomy? What does it mean? They got deutered? They got deutered. Oh no! Oh no! We're getting deutered again. Oh no! What is Deuteronomy? Comes from the word. Join us. Come in. Yeah. Two of you, come join us here. Deuteronomy comes from the word deuce. It's from the root of the word deuce, which is two. It's a repeat. Much of what has already been learned in the Torah is repeated, even though there are certain halachas, there are new halachas. And that's why the Medrash refers to it, Chazal referred to it as Mishnah Torah. Mishnah means repeated. Mishnah Torah, it is the Torah that is repeated. So it's going to start out with Moshe Rabbeinu. It's going to start out with Moshe Rabbeinu giving a rebuke to the Jewish people. And after the rebuke to the Jewish people, then Moshe Rabbeinu is going to go through the history of what they went through, and is going to then, as it progresses, present some new halachas that they had learned yet. That's what's going to happen in Sefer Devarim. Now take a look at the first pasuk. I hope we get past the first pasuk today. Eled hadvarim asher diber Moshe al kol b'nei Yisrael be'ever hayarden. These are the words that Moshe has spoken to the Jewish people on the other side of the Yarden, what we call the occupied East Bank. Right? The what do you call it? The occupied by them. We'll take that soon. Bamidbar ba'arava, in the desert, in the arava, mol suf bein paran vein tofa v'lovan v'chatzeros v'dizahav. What's going on here? All these places that the Torah mentions. Says Rashi, first Rashi in the Parsha. Eila hadvarim, lefi shehein divrei tochachos, because these are words of rebuke. Umana kan, it mentions it lists over here, kol ha'makomos sheyichisu lifnei ha'makom bahed. It lists all the places where the Jewish people provoked Hashem, where they got Hashem upset, so to speak. Lefichach sosam es hadvarim, therefore it was ambiguous. V'hizkiran beremez, and it's only mentioned in an allusion. It's alluded to. A remez really means a hint. Mipnei kvodan shel Yisrael. That means that Moshe Rabbeinu is going to give a remez over here. He's going to alludes to these places, and each one of these places, Rashi says what they did wrong in each one of these places. So you have, for example, Bamidbar is because they got him upset in the Midbar. They said, we want to die in the Midbar. Ba'arava was the incident with the Benos Mov and Shittim. Mol Suf is where they said they said they want to go back to Egypt. Each one of these places it's like telling a bank robber, like, hi, I want to talk to you about First National, because that's one bank that he robbed, and Deutsche Bank, there's a second bank that he robbed. And I'm not talking about robbing banks. I'm just mentioning about what you did. I want to speak to you about these banks. And each one of these is a place where you did something wrong, or a guy who ate non-kosher food. I said, today we're going to talk about Pizza Hut and McDonald's and and Denny's. And you go through Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I go through, and this guy knows, oh boy, got me on that one. Why would you do that? The answer is when you rebuke people, so Rashi says, to maintain the dignity of the Jewish people, that the Jewish people should be embarrassed. But even more than that, We're going to see later that Moshe Rabbeinu translates the Torah into 70 languages. Now, what's the idea of translating the Torah into 70 languages? We'll see. But the point is that once it's translated to 70 languages, the other nations have access to it. We don't want other nations reading about our flaws. So those who need to know will know. Those who need to know what's happening understand exactly what's happening. But we don't want others to, we don't want to hang our dirty laundry in public. So it's spoken to in a remez. Number 3, to help people save face. And this is a rule when you rebuke people in general. You try not to you don't smash people over the head with rebuke. When it comes to rebuke, you try to do it in a way to let people save face. One of the things you tell a kid, your own kids, or a student, or somebody else, somebody like you could, for someone like you, that's not appropriate. Somebody, you could do better. A guy like you could do better. What have you done? You've built the person up. I've told you who you are. You could do better than that. I expect better from you. From him, I don't expect better. From you, I expect better. By the way, that's how we're regarded by the other. Well, how come there's so much criticism of the religious people? As soon as a frum person does something wrong, they jump all over us. Why? And for a non-frum person, it's okay? Because we expect more from you. And we all know that we expect more. We expect better behavior from you. And we expect something different. If you were an Italian, I wouldn't expect much from you. But if you're a frum Jew, I expect, what kind of behavior is that? Are you talking in shul? We can imagine an Italian talking in shul. We give him a prize. He didn't punch anybody. He didn't shoot anybody. He didn't extort money from anybody. All he did was talk in church. Hey, Antonio, what's wrong with you? And that's okay. As long as we know where Antonio is, he's not walking around, making people offers they can't refuse. I'll make him an offer he can't refuse. Right? The guy, he's only talking in church. That's fine. Right? He's not shooting up gang members from the opposite family. But a frum Jew, you talking shul? What is that? You didn't bench? You ate without benching? You didn't bench? Why do we expect more from you? So when you rebuke somebody, the goal is try to rebuke him in a way that it's what do you call it? Try to rebuke him in a way that builds him up at the same time. And therefore, for the Jewish people, you don't want to. Sometimes a person knows they did something wrong. I don't have to say much. Rav Moshe Feinstein, when a guy would not show up in shir, if a guy ever missed shir, could you believe such a thing happens? There were actually guys who did not come to shir. How do you like that? How do you like that? Guys didn't actually come to shir. So what would Rav Moshe Feinstein say? He would say, he'd see a bacher, he'd say, "Oh, Chaim, I didn't see you in shir yesterday. I guess you couldn't make it." That was it, and he'd walk away. So the bacher got the message. What was the message? The message was Rav Moshe knows that I wasn't in shir. And I know I wasn't in shir. And he knows that I know that I wasn't in shir. And tomorrow I'm going to be in shir. You have to say, you know what, you shagets, you didn't make it to shir yesterday. What are you going to be? You're going to end up on the street. And it didn't come out like that. It wasn't one of those things. It was just, you're not going to, can't make it. Yeah, you can't make it. It ain't letting you know that I know. No, you draw your own conclusions. But I want to tell you something. I saw this. This is phenomenal. This is absolutely phenomenal. I was a junior in high school. And we had a guy, we had a teacher. The teacher was not Jewish. And we're taking a world, it was, American history, an American history class. He was actually a good teacher. He was actually interesting. And the guy was, to a certain extent, he was a little guy. He wasn't physically, he wasn't in appearance, he didn't look like a cool guy, but he was kind of cool. He talked kind of out of the side of his mouth. Once in a while he swore, which obviously was the coolest thing he could possibly do. And he was with it, a very with it guy. So we're in the middle of a test, and this was a test that was impossible to get any sort of outside assistance on, because we had to write, it was an essay test. I actually studied in that class. And we're in the middle of writing this test. And all of a sudden, he would sit there reading the newspaper while we're doing this test. And all of a sudden, in the middle, we hear a voice. I'm sitting there writing. I was actually doing my stuff. I was studying. I knew my stuff that day. I think I got a B, a self-earned B. That wasn't bad. And what do you call it? And I'm writing my test. And all of a sudden, this guy goes, he's holding a newspaper. And after a while, he would glance around. And all of a sudden, we hear his voice. He goes, "Put away the cheat sheets, will ya?" Oh, I'm looking around the room, what's he talking about? Okay, if I start writing again. I said, "Put away the cheat sheets, will ya?" I go like, what was going on? Okay. The next, day or two later, we hand in our papers. A day or two later, he calls us up. He says, okay, Kaplan, he gives me my paper. Goldman, he gives me my paper. Cohen comes up. He goes, Cohen, twice I said, put away the cheat sheets. You're sitting there copying straight out of your composition book. But you know what? That's the most you've learned in this class the entire year, so I'm giving you a C on the test. Probably the best lesson I learned all high school. Best lesson. A guy's nailed. What was your purpose of teaching? Your purpose of teaching is because for a greater purpose, you want to educate the guy. He wants to educate. You finally got a little education, so I'll give you a C. He's copying out of somebody else's composition book. The guy's a schlemiel for getting caught, obviously. You're never supposed to. You deserve to fail for getting caught, not because you don't know the material. But at the end of the day, that's what you want to do. You want to rebuke in such a way that is going to help people save face, number one. Number two, look at the word Elah. Aleph, Lamed, Hey. Elah hadvorim. Elah hadvorim. The word dvorim is the same as the Hebrew word, how do you say a bee in Hebrew? A dvorah. A dvorah is a bee, right? A dvorah is a bee. Elah hadvorim could also be read, remember in the Torah there's no vowelization. So in the Torah it could be read as Elah hadivorim. And a bee stings. What happens after a bee stings? He dies. Is that true, by the way? That's what we've always been told, that a bee stings and he dies. So the bee, what's that? Not always true, but we were always told that he'll sting you, but he dies. So there's your consolation. You're in pain, but you say, don't worry, the bee died also. Oh, okay, thanks, go ahead. Right? So the Elah Advarim means that when Moshe Rabbeinu is giving rebuke, there's something about the rebuke that is similar to a bee sting, which is what? A bee stings when he dies. When does Moshe Rabbeinu give the rebuke? Right before he dies. Why is it only before he dies? It's the 40th year. Elah Advarim, not only is the 40th year, it's 36 days before Moshe Rabbeinu dies. Which, by the way, take a look at the first word, Elah. Look at the first word, Elah. What's the numerical value of Elah, Shmuel?
32.
Look at the words, look at the letters. How much is an aleph? How much is a hey? 36. This is 36 days before Moshe Rabbeinu dies. Elah Advarim, what a coincidence. Elah Advarim, these are the words that Moshe Rabbeinu right before he dies. Now, you like that, huh, Zil? Another little coincidence. 36. Why do you give rebuke before you die? Why do you give a rebuke before you die? That way you won't repeat it. Don't repeat it over and over. That's one of the annoying things about rebuke also. Somebody starts telling you off and they really letting you have it. You are an irresponsible. Don't you ever clean up your, I've told you a million times, clean up. How come you never clean? You never, ever clean up. And I've told you a million times, don't repeat yourself. Don't repeat yourself. I said, don't repeat yourself. By the way, I saw this with my own eyes. I saw this with my own eyes when I moved into my, you're not gonna believe this. This is off the charts. Now we're going back close to 40 years. I moved into a new neighborhood and there was a shul that was built. The shul, this is off the charts. The shul is there's an Ashkenazi shul downstairs and there's a Sephardi shul upstairs. It was built before I got to the neighborhood. I'd moved into the neighborhood, and the shul they still hadn't finished everything, and there was still money that needed to be paid for different things. So there was a meeting. The Ashkenazi group got together, and there was a meeting because they had to figure out how we're going to deal with this and deal with that, deal with the other. So after about, this meeting is going on, and all of a sudden some guy, he gets up, he goes, "That's it, I've had enough of this. All there's been is talk. That's all we're doing is talk. Enough talking. There's enough talk. We've been talking and talking. Enough talking. There's no more talking. We've been talking and talking." And the guy went on, and everybody in the room is watching this guy. Are you serious? And the guy, he had no idea what he was doing. And the guy just went on. He just went on about, we're talking about how we're talking too much. That's what he did. He kept talking about how we're talking too much. It was unbelievable. And people were just kind of looking at each other like, is this a show or is he for real? So Moshe Rabbeinu gives, when do you give the rebuke? He gives the rebuke before he dies. Why? That way he won't repeat it. I told you once. That's enough. You don't have to go repeat. You don't have to harp on it, right? You told me about it. Okay, is that the word harp on it? Harp on it or harp on it? Harp on it. Don't, what do you call it? I gave you the busser. That's all. That's the comparison. That's the bee. The bee is the sting that after you sting a little, listen, nobody likes to be told. We all like to present ourselves as successful, or just the wholesome, well accomplished person. Nobody likes to have their flaws pointed out. It hurts. But you don't see you. I have a flaw? Are you serious? I have a flaw? And so when it stings, to be rebuked stings. So if you're mature about it, you think about what you're being told. Maybe there's some merit to what somebody is saying, and therefore it needs to be improved. But then he dies. So Moshe Rabbeinu, number one. Now, take a look, because this is very, very curious. You're going to have to ask me the question. Take a look towards the end of the pasuk. Look in Rashi. It says it's 3 lines from the bottom in the right column. Everybody take a look. If you have a chumash, take a chumash. Everybody should have a chumash. There's an extra chumash over. Take chumashim, guys. So Rashi says like this. 3 lines from the bottom. V'chatzeros. Everybody see that? If you find it, show the person next to you. V'chatzeros. What's v'chatzeros? B'machlukoso shel Korach. Chatzeros refers to, Moshe Rabbeinu mentions the place where Korach, what do you call it? Korach led a rebellion. Okay. Davar acher. Amar lev hayalachem lilmod b'masha asiti leMiriam b'chatzeros. You should have learned from what I did to Miriam. Bishvil lashon hara. V'atem nidbartem b'makom, yet you spoke against Hashem. So the first thing Rashi says about v'chatzeros is refers to the rebellion of Korach. Then look, v'di zahav. What's v'di zahav? Oh, good. And the word di is actually dai. Dai means sufficient. V'di zahav, says Rashi, hochichan al ha'egel, he rebuked them about the golden calf, she'asu, which they made, bishvil rov zahav shahayelahem, because of all the gold they had. They had all this gold. They came out of Egypt. They took the booty from Egypt. So they had a lot of gold, and they had a lot of, and they built the egel. So he rebuked them for about Korach, and he rebukes them about the golden calf. What's the problem here, gentlemen? Somebody should ask a question.
Why these two put together? Why not the spice?
The spies, he mentions the spies earlier. I think he mentioned the spies earlier. Now, where does the spies get mentioned? You know what? I don't know. No, the spies he's going to talk about later. But something over here mentions Korach, he mentions the egel. First he mentions Korach, then he mentions the egel.
Wouldn't you mention the fourth one first?
Oh, which came first, Korach or the egel? The egel happened at Har Sinai. Korach wasn't until later. So why in the rebuke does he talk about Korach and then he talks about the egel? Why is the rebuke in that order? The answer is, you ever been in a cab? You ever been in a cab and the cab driver's got like something hanging from the mirror, some sort of good luck charm? Like either a soccer ball or what do you call it? A little animal or something. You ever seen that? You ever seen that sort of thing? Okay. Or sometimes they have the chamsa, right? They have the Sephardi high five. Yeah, they have the chamsa. You ever seen that? What do you call it? Okay. Now, at the gentlemen, can I ask everybody put away the technology? It's disrespectful to the Torah. Either learning or technology, not both. Well, no, they do that outside. It's also disrespectful for me, but who cares? But the Torah is more significant, believe it or not. So the answer is like this. What does Korach do? Korach throws an axe into their belief in Moshe Rabbeinu. He challenges the belief in Moshe Rabbeinu, challenges the belief in the entire Torah. Okay? Now, let's say they would have done the golden calf. Let's say they would have done the golden calf. They would have done the golden calf alone. Okay, it was a difficult situation. Obviously, you shouldn't be doing the golden calf. But what creates an even greater prosecution against the Jewish people for their golden calf is what happens later. Because did the golden calf is one thing. Okay, listen, we didn't know. We had trouble believing. Yet the golden calf, that you do believe in. That you do believe. The golden calf, that you're willing to believe in. Then comes along Korach, and Moshe Rabbeinu, who has already been substantiated by everything that he's done. He's clearly on a messenger from God. He's clearly, Kodesh Baruch Hu sent him. And what's your attitude toward? There you have doubts. All of a sudden, the thing that you shouldn't believe in, that all of a sudden, but that Moshe Rabbeinu, that all of a sudden we have trouble believing it. That creates an even bigger, in that nonsense you do believe it. That's why sometimes a guy doesn't have a mezuzah. A mezuzah, I don't know, mezuzah, yeah, mezuzah, no, I don't know if a mezuzah, what's a mezuzah worth on the door? But he wouldn't get into his car without a cat's foot hanging on his mirror over there. You know, I got to have a cat's foot. Even the chamsa, which is a wonderful, it's a Kabbalistic idea. But it's not a halacha, it's only a minhag. Tzitzis is a halacha, tefillin is a halacha, a mezuzah is a halacha. I don't know, it's all true. So a guy won't put on tzitzis, but he's going to wear wear a chai around his neck. Wouldn't go anywhere without the chai. What's a chai? What's a chai? There's no halacha of a chai. So sometimes people believe in all sorts of weird stuff, all sorts of nonsense. And where have you been all along? And it's one thing, I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in anything. Okay, you don't believe in anything, so you got some problems. At least you don't believe in anything. But the thing you should believe in, you don't believe in. And the thing that you shouldn't believe in, you do believe in. That makes it even worse. So Korach, the fact that there's a Korach, that creates an even greater prosecution against the Jewish people for the ego. Korach showed you throw doubt into Moshe Rabbeinu. So throw doubt into, nobody doubts the ego. That's great. That's just wonderful. Like communism and all these other isms. Then anybody stop to think, hey fellas, I don't think this is going to work. I really don't think this is going to work. If communism is so wonderful, why are we starving? No, in another 5 years, there's going to be a lot of, oh really? Somehow I don't think so. No, Torah, no. No. What about this? Yeah, this nonsense and that narishkeit, all these things that people believe in. All these things, we can't find, you got all these people traveling to Tibet, in Nepal, to find spirituality. The famous story. I'll tell you a famous story. There's a poor Jew, Velvel the Jew. He lives in some village in Europe. And one day, he says to his wife, I had a dream last night that there's a treasure buried under a bridge in St. Petersburg. I want to go to St. Petersburg to get this treasure. So I says, Velvel Haknishkin Chinik, and go to work. The kids need food in the house, and don't give me a hard time. Okay. The next day, he says, listen, Bela, again, I had the same recurring dream. There's a treasure under a bridge in St. Petersburg. There's Haknishkin Chinik, don't give me a hard time. Third day in a row, he says, Bela, I can't. A third time in a row, I had a dream. There's a treasure under a bridge in St. Petersburg. I got to go to St. Petersburg. She says, okay, so go to St. Petersburg, but where are you going to get the money? He says, I'll borrow money. He gets a horse and wagon, and he starts heading off for St. Petersburg. He gets miles and miles away. It takes him a couple of weeks, gets to St. Petersburg. And St. Petersburg had never been there before in his life. He gets to St. Petersburg, mamish, the place looks exactly like he saw in the dream. He knows the streets. He's never been there before. It's like going from here to Cincinnati. I've never been to Cincinnati. You're driving around like you belong there. See, he starts driving through, and sure enough, a couple of rights, a couple of lefts, and there's the bridge, the bridge that he saw. And there's the pillar of the bridge, and right at the base of that pillar, there's buried a treasure. He saw it, and he knows it's there. There's only one problem. A bunch of Russian soldiers are patrolling the area. So he can't go over and start digging up the treasure, because they'll see him digging up a treasure. What are you digging up and what are you sabotaging? And if he finds a treasure, they'll just take it from him. So he's there the first day, and he's pacing back and forth. You know the story? He goes the second day, he's pacing back and forth. Finally, the third day, this sergeant looks at him, and this Russian sergeant says, "Hey, you, Jew, what are you doing here?" He says, "You, what are you doing here?" So he figures the truth is, he says, "Listen, I had a dream, and my dream, he knows he's got to come, he's got to make sound convincing here. I had a dream, and my dream is that there's a treasure buried at the base of this bridge." The guy plots is laughing. The sergeant says, "Yeah, and I've had a dream for 3 days that there's a Jew named Velvel in Krakow who's got a treasure buried under his front porch." And he starts rolling and laughing. And Velvel hears this, and he turns right around, and he goes home. And he digs under his front porch, and sure enough, there's a treasure. It's a story. It's an apocryphal story. Yeah. Otherwise, if you had a dream about me, let me know. Let me know. Hey, I had a dream. Right under your neighbor's house, there's a treasure. No kidding. So what's the? I forgot who it might be the Chafetz Chaim. I don't remember who told the story. He said like this: somebody, you got a treasure buried right under your front porch. There's a treasure. So where do you go? You go to St. Petersburg. And you find out it's right where you are is the treasure. So you have people who are looking for spirituality. Secular Jews. So where do they go? They go to India. They go to Nepal. What's it called? Thailand, Nepal. The other one beside Nepal. What's near Nepal? Huh? No, Nepal and Tibet and all these places where you could go sit in a monastery and eat rice for 6 months, and lie down on a bed of nails and be spiritual. I don't know if you're spiritual, you're certainly holy. You've been pierced with holes, right? So you're holy. So there you are. They're all spiritual. And where did you check out? Did you check out the shul, the local shul next to you? Maybe go to a yeshiva. You got it right in your backyard. You're looking for spirituality. Wait, unless you shave your head bald and leave a what do you call it, growing in the middle like a what do you call like a unicorn, and you sit on the ground and you chant mantras. Yeah, unless that's spirituality. They can't. So where are you going? Like, you believe in that nonsense? You don't believe in anything. You're an atheist. Okay, that's something else. Yeah, you claim to be an atheist. I don't believe in anything. All right, say it. We'll see when the next time there's a missile heading towards you, if you believe in anything or not. Okay, so we're not going to put you to the test. Hopefully we shouldn't be tested. But here you don't believe in what you should and you believe in, that creates the greatest prosecution. That's a prosecution against you. Well, what happened? It's like the kid who says to his father asks the kid to mow the lawn, I don't have any energy. Right? Then later that day, his friend calls him up. He says, by the way, we need a 10th guy. We rented a gym. We're going to play some basketball. Hey, Dad, can I go play basketball? No, you don't have energy. You told me you didn't have energy. We had a rule in my house growing up. If I wasn't well enough in the morning to go to school, you don't go out of the house the rest of the day. You're not well enough at night. When your friends are playing ball, you can't play ball either. That was rough. I don't feel well. Okay, you want to stay home? You can stay home. But then you're staying home all day. I was getting them. Meant I had to go to school. What a waste of time. So so what do you call it? Now take a look at the next pasuk. 11 days from the Jewish people, 11 days away from going into Eretz Yisrael. First of all, the 11 days, it's interesting. What's coming up this week, gentlemen? The Parsha's Devorim always comes up in the week of Tisha B'Av, or right around the month of, the week of, usually the week of Tisha B'Av. There are 11 days out of the year, and it's rebuke time. Somebody said to me once, the 9 days are starting. Somebody said to me, I really don't enjoy the 9 days. Oh, I love it. Oh, it's just my favorite. Oh, the 9 days, my favorite. Get to eat a little bit more tuna fish. And no meat. And no music. Right? Who said you enjoy it? Who said you enjoy it? You got to do it. Yeah, you have to do it, that's all. That's halacha, they enjoy it. But this is always the time of year where the Jewish people were a little bit under the gun, right? A little bit, and here they're being rebuked, sins. There are 11 days out of the year that we mourn the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. What are they? The 9 days, 17th of Tammuz, and 10th of Teves. Yom Kippur, we're not mourning the destruction of Israel, the contrary. Yom Kippur is not a day of mourning. Kippur is not a day of mourning. It's a very happy day. Yom Kippur is a happy day. It's a celebration. It's an intense day. It's a difficult day, but it's not a day of mourning. To the contrary. Imagine this guy, this Lloyd Austin, has just overturned the ruling on the guy, the mastermind behind 9/11. Some liberal judge said that he played a plea deal with him, and Lloyd Austin said, forget about it. Right? He's reinstating the death sentence. Imagine a guy in a jail who they have a death sentence for him. This guy he's on death row, and he's tomorrow in a week he's going to be executed. And they come to the guy. I don't know why they call it executed. There's nothing cute about it. They kind of come up with a better word for it. Execute. Oh, it's cute. He's execute, right? It's something about the word doesn't make sense. So the guy, this guy's gonna be executed next week. And then they come to his jail cell. They say, by the way, come to court tomorrow. If you played a good case tomorrow, we're going to let you off. Not only won't execute you, we're going to get out of jail completely. You know what kind of day that is for this guy the next day? That's a joyous day. That's a tremendous happy day. It's an intense day, and I guarantee this guy isn't going to tarry over his breakfast. He's not even going to be able to eat. All he's going to be thinking about all night is, what am I going to say in court to get off? And what am I going to promise the judge? That's Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is where, hey, there's a sword hanging over us, and a Jew has a chance to go and get his slate wiped clean. Tisha B'Av is mourning. Tisha B'Av is as if somebody died. And it was worse, the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. Not everybody appreciates it. Everybody appreciates it. There was a non-Jewish tourist at the Kaisel on Tisha B'Av. True story. Non-Jewish tourist came to the Kaisel. She sees everybody's on the ground. They're saying kinos and everybody's crying. So she said, "Why is everybody crying?" Said, "Well, we had a building here about 2,000 years ago. It was destroyed. The temple was destroyed." She goes, "Oh, they didn't have insurance, huh?" So not everybody appreciates. Not everybody understands, and not everybody appreciates it. That's what you'd be upset about. But that's what Achad Asar Yom. There's 11 days. There's the 11 days out of the year. Even more than that. The Jewish people are about to go into Eretz Yisrael. Take a look at Rashi. One last point. Left column, second Rashi. Very important life lesson, gentlemen. Achad Asar Yom Mechorev. Amar le Moshe. Second line, left column. Re'u magar shegaramtem. Look what you caused. Ein lachem derech tzara mechorv lekodesh b'nei k'derech har seir. V'afu malach achad asar yom. It's 11 days. V'atem alachta b'shlosha yomim. In 3 days. And then what happened? Uv'chavtes b'sivan shocho es ha-meraglim mikodesh barnea. And the meraglim go and they mess things up. You were right there, and you messed it up. So I saw Rav Shteyman, I believe, Zatzal. He says sometimes in life a person needs a salvation. You could be on the cusp of salvation, and you push it a little too much, or you get involved and you make the wrong move, and you mess up your own salvation. A guy decides you're waiting for a job. You're davening to Hashem for a job. He has a job offer waiting for you. He has a job offer waiting for you. And then you meet a guy in shul and you start complaining, you know what, here I am without a job. The guy next to him was going to hire you because he took a look, he saw that you're an upbeat guy, you'll be a great salesman who's going to offer you a great car. And then he sees you're complaining, I can't have a complainer in my business. You just blew it for yourself. You just blew it. It was waiting for you right there. You know where else this happens? This happens a lot in shidduchim. Guy wants to get married. He's looking for shidduchim. And of course, Baruch Hu presents him with a wonderful girl. Or the girl's presented with a wonderful guy. Nah, not quite what I'm looking for. It's right there for not quite. And you are what they're looking for so much. We're just you're a 10? I told her, she's not quite exactly what I will look for. Oh, but you are. Huh? You're the whole package. Right? You're not quite what I'm looking for. And a girl could also say that he's not quite what I'm looking for. Hey, listen, girl. Nobody's perfect over here. And Hashem is rolling it out for you, and you're rejecting it yourself. Here you are, look what you were. You were right there. What did you have to go and send spies? You guys came asking for spies. I didn't suggest it. We'll see later on the Torah says, you came to me. And then once you came to me, I couldn't say no. Why can't I say no? I can't say no because, here, my son just bought a, what do you call it? He bought an electric, electric car. No, scooter. No, he would buy a scooter. He bought, what's it called? These electric, what are they called? Electric car. Is there a word for it? For the electric car?
Yeah.
No, he bought a Chinese one. Geely?
Cherry.
Geely.
Yes.
Geely, that's the best of the Chinese cars. They're in Israel. They what do you call it? So he wanted to buy a Chinese car. So first of all, he's been wanting for a long time. Wants the electric. He doesn't want to have to keep spending money on gas. So they went to the second-hand car. So he had a couple of options. The first one he and his wife did not want because it was a little too flashy. Nice car, but they didn't want to. They're not buying it. They don't care what other people should see it, and they don't want other people to be looking at it. So they bought the next level down. Now they're buying a used car. You say to the guy, "Can I buy the car?" And the guy says to you, "Yeah." What's the price? I got. Do you mind if I take it for a spin? Yeah, I mind very much. Why? What are you trying to hide? What are you trying to hide? Nobody's going to buy it if you don't let them take it for a spin. What are you trying to hide over here? So once they come to Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe Rabbeinu says, let's go, we're going into Eretz Yisrael. They come, what's going on in there? Do we want to send spies? Moshe says, no, you don't need spies. Oh, what are you worried about? So they put him in a position in a catch-22. Moshe Rabbeinu can't say no. That's what the Torah tells you. The Moshe Rabbeinu says, listen, you came to me. Had you not come to me, we wouldn't have sent spies. We would have gone to Eretz Yisrael. So what did you do? You came to me to send spies. What am I supposed to say? No way. Then what would you have said? And if I would have said, no, we're not going to send spies, then what would you have said? You would have just done what I told you to do? No, you wouldn't, and we both know you wouldn't have. So once you came to me to send spies, we had to send spies. So what happened? We send spies. Then we end up 40 years in the desert. And there you were right there. That's a life lesson. Sometimes, don't help the Ribono Shalom out. Don't help Hashem out. He doesn't need our help. Get out of his way. Just get out of his way. We have to make responsible hishtadlus. Responsible hishtadlus yet, but not more than that. All right, gentlemen.